Okay, so Alfonso, you are the first with an item in the agenda.
Hi. No, yeah, I pointed this because I don't know, Sage, if you received my message on IRC because
Yeah, I
I'm
got it. Did you get
using
my reply?
Element. Yeah, I use Element. I don't know if you are receiving it or not, so I pinged you also for on Google Chat.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
check
I
it.
replied on IRC this morning, so maybe you're not receiving my messages. Anyway, yeah.
I don't see it, the reply, but well, maybe it's my client. I don't know. Or did you reply in the dashboard room? Maybe.
I replied to your direct message.
But the fact is, I don't. I,
It
I
is.
don't see the reply.
Yes.
Well, no, just to know if I should work on your
Yeah.
PR and I have
Yeah.
permissions to push commits on it.
Yep. Yeah, go for it. Yep, it's all yours. I'm not really sure exactly how to proceed with that one, so.
Okay. No, what I'm doing is, testing what we have with this and
Mhm.
writing some tests.
Perfect.
And the only thing remarkable, well, two things to comment. One is that in the original code, you are setting up a user called dashboard, but I realized that we need an iteration on it when there are more than one realm, because the users are per realm. So right now what I'm doing is creating the same user, but on each realm that we can
Okay.
retrieve.
Okay.
And the other thing is that you erased some documentation, but I'm conversation with Ernesto because maybe some options that are already there, like the scheme, maybe are useful still for some users. Not sure about deleting all the options. So, if you want, we can set up a brief meeting this week in order
Yeah.
to
Okay.
meet the loose ends here and proceed with this PR.
Sounds good. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, and then I will push one or two commits in that PR, and let's see if we can then get merge. Of course, in the dashboard side there is more work to be done, but at the very least with these adjustments, we can go for it, and the credentials are aligned in both sides, the VDM and dashboard.
Sounds good.
Well, that's all my.
Okay, sorry, Sage, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Rook Orchestrator. Should we talk about the
Yeah,
PVC also stuff?
yeah, that's it. I have put that point, okay, because well, at least for me, it's not clear what is going the next steps, okay. Yesterday
Yeah.
we commented something in the orchestrator meeting, and I think that well, it's even good to comment and to see what are going to what are going to be the next steps. Okay, Ankus
Yeah.
is here in the meeting. Okay, because what it seems that the local storage operator it is working only in version 4.7 and well is I think that is very linked directly to OpenShift. So I don't know. I do not know if this is good or if we need to do something. So just share my thoughts and my doubts, and let's see if we can clarify what is the current situation and next steps.
So I guess at a high level, I think I view this in two conversations. The first is like what is the short-term stuff that we want to do to make OSD creation and removal work, given the current state of Rook and LSO. And I think Joseph's pull requests are in pretty good shape. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joseph, but I think you have OSD creation working, except that there's an issue with removing the item from the device sets. And I think Travis, you opened an issue in Rook on that.
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
that right? And then there's also a OSD removal. I'm not sure exactly where that's at, but
Yeah, because
Joseph.
the Rook doesn't allow removal from the cluster, the device set right now. So hopefully that's not too big a change. Well, it shouldn't be too big a change to support that, but it will need a little work in Rook.
Okay. Okay. I mean, maybe we're not going down the right path because I was viewing the OSD creation via the device sets as sort of possibly a short-term path to just trigger the creation and then we remove them as soon as they were created. But ideally there'd be just a more imperative, please go create this OSD that we could call. So I don't know what changes are necessary to make the device set removal piece work, or if they're needed anyway.
Okay, but I think that this could be what the first plan, okay, and try to make it work with this kind of work with the local storage operator, installing manually the local storage operator, and using the pull request that Joseph has done in order to use the information from this operator. And a part of that, we need to do some modification in the Rook project in order to allow the removal of OSDs.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Okay.
Well, not to allow removal of the OSDs, but to allow removal of the device set from the CR, and the OSDs will remain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, we're trying to get the upstream Rook 1.7 release this week. That's been the focus, I think. Yeah, as soon as that settles down, I'll take a look at that and see if we can unblock you there.
Okay.
Okay, Travis. Well, maybe you can explain Joseph and myself, okay, about what are the modifications that are required, and we can work with that, okay?
Yeah, in the Rook issue I opened, I can find a link in a minute here, but it won't be trivial, but because there's just how we're dealing with desired state and actual state inside the operator is a little confusing around these OSD settings with device sets. So it might probably be quicker if someone who's already been in the code is there. But yeah, maybe I can take a quick look at that today or at least tomorrow to see if there's something we can do in the short term. Well, it shouldn't take more than a few days anyway.
No, do not worry. That is not important. It's just to know what are going to be the next steps, okay? And I will reach you in order to get more information about that, okay? I will say it with Joseph. Okay.
And on the removal, I mean the short-term workaround with that Rook issue. Well, I guess the short term is that the RBAC pull request needs to be merged, and then Joseph's pull request can be merged. But then on the adding OSDs, there's the issue that you opened, Travis. But in the meantime, the manager cannot remove from the device set. Just leave it there indefinitely, and that'll be okay for the time being.
Workaround. Okay.
But there's also another pull request, Joseph, right? That does OSD removal.
That's not done yet.
No, that's not done yet. Okay.
It's still only on my local machine, I think.
Okay.
But I'm working on it like right now, so that should be done soon.
All right. Are there any blockers on the Rook side for that, or is it just a matter of?
I think there's more like role-based access control changes that are needed for OSD removal, which is like the PR that I opened on Rook this week. I changed like the common.yaml files. There's just a couple more changes that I have to make if I want to get OSD removal working.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's gonna.
Remember which PR was that? Did it not get merged already? Lost track.
I think it's. I'm gonna send a link right now. I think Sebastian.
Oh wait, there it is.
Review again. Yeah.
8347. All right. Yeah, we'll follow up on that then. Oh, he approved it. I still have requested changes, so I'll take a final look.
Okay, so then I guess the second part of the question is about LSO. And this, I think a whole bunch of conversations need to happen here with the LSO developers, and I think probably also we should talk to the Topo LVM fellow, because basically, let's see, Ankush, I don't think we've met, but I have a pad that we started putting together. What is it? Rook requirements. Basically, put a pad together of basically everything that we would want a local storage operator to do, in order to like do all the things that we want. So I think the question is whether this is something that LSO would want to do, and would want to expand its scope to include. And if so, great. It might also make sense to take Topo LVM and add the sort of the bare metal like hardware discovery part to that. It might be an easier path as far as like getting something that does all the right things. I'm not really sure, not being familiar with the code for either one. But.
Right, and I have an update on some discussions there in this last week. So
yeah.
So we met with LSO on Friday and then a follow-up meeting today. If I was thinking, I would have invited you. But basically, we brought up the question, hey, what would it take to get these new features that we've been talking about, like the dynamic provisioning, the discovery? And I think my conclusion is that it's going to take time to get LSO to go there, but we're having that discussion about the question is still whether LSO is the right place for all of that, or if we do something with, even they're talking about, well, maybe Topo LVM can be used, and we just work work together with Topo LVM to collaborate or something. So it might be that, it might be really enhance LSO to do it all. It's not clear yet what we're going to do.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So it is a long-term thing, and it's going to take time really to figure out with LSO.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
No quick answer.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I think the other conversation I want to have is with the product manager on the OpenShift side. I think it's Duncan, who is responsible for LSO, and also with I guess it's Iran is the DOCS, ODF, whatever, product manager, and basically like sell them on the idea of including like a robust local storage operator in as part of either OpenShift or ODF. I think
Have you talked with Duncan, by the way? Because
I have not talked to him yet. That was basically on my list of stuff to do this week. I was out most of last week camping, so I'm just catching up again.
Now, curiously, today the LSO guys mentioned that Duncan also had brought up a requirement for dynamic provisioning and some of these things we're talking about.
Okay.
And so it's on his radar. He's on PTO this week too, anyway. So we'll follow up with him.
I'll send him an email.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, if that is the case, then I think there's the question of like, do we evolve LSO into this thing, or do we evolve Topo LVM into this thing? Is like question number one, and then question number two is, do we want to take that resulting thing and put it under the Rook umbrella, call it Rook Local? Have you talked to anybody in like the Rook on the Rook side of things, or brought it up in like the Rook community meeting? Is there any just there, or any other sense of like what the interest?
The community meeting for Rook is in an hour, and I feel like it's still pretty early. Or really, we want to talk to the Topo LVM guys first.
Yeah.
After we have some idea.
Do you know that person? I thought somebody said his name. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of them is a Rook maintainer to Satoru. So yeah, we have a good connection there.
Do you mind setting up like a call meeting or whatever to discuss?
Yeah, let's do that. He's in Japan, so the time is always a challenge there. But yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, or even an email thread or something. Anyway, yeah. Okay.
Right.
Because I think it would be interesting, if there's interest.
Early perspective, at least.
To get. Yeah, cool. Okay. Okay. All right. So I guess my action item is to talk to Duncan. Travis, you can talk to Satoru or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then the RBAC pull request, and then Joseph's working on the OSD removal.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Cool.
And by the way, the requirements you'd written down are from the July 13th notes, it looks like. So.
Yeah, there's that pad.
Just to make sure you didn't add any more since then.
There was
we
like
talked
a little
about.
bit of pink in this pad that Sam just added a couple notes around. We want to make sure that this ultimately also includes like the ZNS SSDs that are about to start shipping, and ideally like things like persistent memory and whatever other types of storage hardware. Ideally, we want to capture in this as well, at least the device discovery part. But not clear whether those would be inventory. There's another thought actually I had that may or may not make sense here. Because it might be that like once you're in the category of like I want to dynamically provision a persistent volume that's not reliable, then that could just be like a directory on a formatted hard drive, like a local path, but like dynamically provisioned. Like I don't know if there's anything in Kubernetes that does that right now, but
Trying to think. I know you can do it with a static provisioner easily, but yeah, I'm sure there's something out there just to dynamically provision. Hey, create this directory on the host path.
Yeah. I mean, it would look and act like a dynamically provisioned PV, but in reality, it's just a directory on a local hard disk on the same file system, right?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. And what would be the scenario for that you're thinking? Or
I mean, just the same thing. Like you just need a container needs a dynamically provisioned PV from a storage class that's not redundant or reliable or whatever. So.
Right. Just to.
I guess it wouldn't be shared. It's only a pinned to a single host, but yeah. Anyway, same as all the other. It's just file PV instead of block PV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you know it's a host path, someone could just create that host path PV on a random directory name, but
yeah, it's just like different consumption. Anyway, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. And then I guess. Okay. Yeah. Anything else on the LSO stuff? Should we move on?
No, I have put a recording of a meeting that we had with Ankus. Ankus explained us what is the flow of the operations that are required in OpenShift in order to use the local storage operator and to create OSDs using the local storage operator. So there is the link if somebody is interested. And what I think is that basically we are going to follow the same workflow. Okay, so.
I got to run in a couple of minutes, but the last thing I had was just on the manager NFS and dashboard stuff. The dashboard needs to be changed to consume the NFS API, and I think the question is just for the dashboard folks. I sent a message to Ernesto in the RC channel, but haven't got a reply yet. I'm wondering if somebody on the dashboard team is currently working on this, or if I should just go give it a shot. Alfonso, do you know? Oh, Ernesto, you're also here.
Hey, Sage. Yeah.
Hey. Oh,
No, I was just, we've been talking this morning about this. So we realized that also in the documentation, this is mostly downstream, but we realized that in the documentation, we are recommending users to migrate the NFS for the 5.1. So in upstream, I think it should be more or less the same thing, right? So that will probably be our next priority. To have this integrated in the dashboard and replace the current way of working with NFS.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I gotta run.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Take
Well,
care.
I think that this is all. I don't know if somebody wants to bring up something more. No? So I think that this is all for today. Okay. So see you next week. Well, not in my case that I will be on PTO, but for most of the people, it will be there. Okay. Bye.
All right. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye. Have fun on
Bye.
PTO.
Thanks. Good. Bye.